And now, time to get in the huddle with your host, Charles Prodigy Ritchie, here on the Man of Steel podcast.
Hey, you blink, I'll cut your eyelids off. Don't you blink. I got you. Let's go.
You get where you feel like you can rush the quarterback. You understand? Yeah. Rush the quarterback. Bangs in for the touchdown, and there's the coup de grace.
Do you have room in the trophy for another one there? You got 6 of them. Now you're the winningest franchise in NFL history.
We'll make room.
And good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition here of the Man of Steel podcast with, of course, yours truly, Charles Prodigy Ritchie. Got another good one in store right now, another week of activity basically happening ever since the CBA has been signed back in March. Patriots, believe it or not, still seems to be a big-time player in the game. Doesn't look like it's going to be Jarrett Stidham starting for Bill Belichick this year. Actually got word early this morning as we found out as Adam Schefter of NFL on ESPN, and of course The Athletic has reported that Cam Newton has signed a 1-year incentive-laden based deal with the Patriots right here. This guy right here who got royally screwed over, if you ask me, by his former team, the Panthers. Did not decide to trade him. They decided to release him, thus getting no value out of the former MVP and NFC champion here. And also, I think the number 1 overall pick back in 2011. What does that mean for the state of the AFC? Are the Patriots still, once again, right now, Super Bowl favorites? We take a look at it. You'll find out my thoughts on that and how much of a threat will that mean to the Steelers if they were to meet in the playoffs, if the Steelers gets back to the playoffs. Plus, we got a little bit more grades from Pro Football Focus on the Steelers' defensive line and players as far as their defense up the middle. Then also, we got OddsShark's latest odds for Comeback Player of the Year, as well as Defense Player of the Year awards. You can catch me every Mondays and Wednesdays, as you know, usually at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. If not 6:30, it's usually 7 o'clock. And if you guys want to feel free to be a part of the conversation, you can join me on the Instagram live stream right now, too. I'm also streaming from Zoom, as you can see right now, where I plan to be streaming a lot of my shows going forward. Going to be having in the works a guest coming up in the next few days, Brian Diardo of CBS Sports, working on bringing him back. But as far as tonight, I want to feel everyone's pulse here as we take a look at it. Again, if you want to, feel free to dial in. Feel free. The number is 312-209-2232. Again, that number is 312-209-2232. Of course, you can always follow me on my social media. I can be followed once again at Prodigy Ritchie, at OnDeck CSR. For the Man of Steel podcast on Twitter, it is simply at Man of Steel CGR. Instagram, at Man of Steel Nation. So let's get right back into the groundbreaking news as we look at former number 1 overall pick of the 2011 NFL Draft, who played out of Auburn, Florida and Blinn College, most recently Auburn. Former league MVP back in 2015, who took his team to the Super Bowl. Big reason why, as well as a good defense that year. Talk about none other than Cam Newton right here. He is also a 3-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro right now. And this guy right here who had a long-lasting relationship with the Carolina Panthers for his first 9 seasons. I mean, 8 seasons legitimately as a star right now. He's going to no longer be with the Panthers. I mean, as that was well decided earlier in the offseason. But for right now, I mean, just hard to believe that no one could seem to get any kind of value out of him. I mean, obviously, a lot of people will point to and look at his game. I mean, when you look at recently, a guy who's definitely taken quite a bit of hits in his career. I mean, when you break it down and see, and I think definitely one of the things, too, he's definitely been one of the most sacked quarterbacks in his career. He's got 291 sacks right now in about 8 full seasons as a starter, basically. And when you look at where everything just kind of started to go in decline for this guy, I think a lot of people will definitely point back as recently back to the 2018 season, that Thursday Night Football, where the Steelers definitely put a big time beat down on Newton and the Panthers in that game. I mean, you looked at it right there. I mean, that was game right there in that contest when they were at Pittsburgh. He only threw for 193 yards with only 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He got sacked 5 times in that game. Coincidentally, too, that was also the same game, too. You also saw where James Conner, who was having the hot start to the season as far as scrimmage yards, started slowly falling off the tracks right there as far as his season. Because remember, he also had a concussion during that game. And then little by little, he just did not seem to be the same guy as far as when it was down the stretch. I mean, he just seemed to kind of fade away. Don't get me wrong, he's a good running back right now, doing a lot of good stories. I mean, bought a car for his father just recently, doing some noble stuff right now. I mean, just a humble man right there. He's got a book right here. I believe it's On Fear. But, I mean, the guy right here, James Conner right now, you got to really start to wonder, especially how much is on the line for him and what he needs to prove. But back to what I'm saying right now. So Tom Brady, who eventually went over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this past March, as a matter of fact, as we looked at it. And Tom Brady, who definitely has meant a lot to that franchise for at least 20 seasons, starting about 19 seasons there as a Patriot. I mean, his overall career, I mean, you could definitely make the argument either way. I mean, Belichick was taken to the next level when he had Tom Brady in his side. Remember, he went off. He signed on a 2-year, $50 million contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which included a $50 million guarantee and an average of $25 million. As far as for Cam Newton, trying to see if we could pull up the details on his deal right now. I know it was based with incentives right now as far as everything goes. And I'm trying to see if we get some sort of numbers on this. Check it out right now on Spotrac right now, Spotrac.com. You can also check out Over the Cap. I usually Spotrac a lot. So for right now, nothing has been disclosed. It's just a 1-year base with incentives. Let's see what Over the Cap says real quickly. If we could find something there. But I just want to ask you guys, what do you think? What's the pulse right now, Steeler Nation? Cam Newton, who's going to be paired with Bill Belichick. I mean, a lot of people have been making the argument, too, that if Bill Belichick would have had a guy like Aaron Rodgers, someone just as talented. I mean, the thing is, you could always be having a talented quarterback, but at the same time, what does it produce in winning overall? And I think that's the things where people tend to just lose focus. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, you look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who's also a 2-time league MVP in this game. He's only been to the Super Bowl 1 time. And I mean, overall in his career too, when you think about what he's been able to do, I mean, he has went to the conference championship game 4 times in his career, went 1-3. So sometimes at the end of the day too, it's just how do you deliver in those clutch moments. Will that be a little bit of a different scenario right now? Cam Newton right now, who's been so long coached by Ron Rivera since he came into the league, how is that going to transition to be working with a guy like Bill Belichick? Now, you think of a team like the Patriots right there, and my only concern, I would just say for Cam Newton, everybody, I think now you're going to have to see how you can build around him. Because don't get me wrong, I mean, Newton is versatile, but at the end of the day, you still need to make sure you have a system built in place. You got to make sure you have some playmakers. They hardly had anybody on offense that year. I mean, and Brady was just missing his guy big time. And Rob Gronkowski right there, who was basically retired that season. So, I mean, you look at it right there and see, I mean, what a team like the Patriots, what kind of threat they could still pose. Because obviously, when we look at, I mean, last year, for example, when you look at their overall stats and where they're at, I mean, still had, I mean, one of the things that really killed them, too, is definitely in the run game. They were 18th in that category. But then when you also look at the year before, I mean, in their rushing, they're ranked 5th. So obviously a significant drop-off in there. And you try to just see what they were doing. And as far as, like, what they were able to pull off right here. I mean, obviously you still had Sony Michel right there, who was still doing barely enough right there. He still had 912 yards rushing. I mean, he was able to account for basically about 1,008 yards on scrimmage, or 1,006, excuse me. And you see what he was able to do. I just feel right now when you got a guy like Belichick, who you think it's like safe to go into the water with a team like the Patriots, there's still someone to be lurking and someone to still reckon with. But again, as we remember too, the only benefit about the Steelers though this year, they do not have to worry about facing them in the regular season this year. So you don't have to worry about contending with them. As a reminder, the Steelers this year, they will definitely be facing the AFC South as far as that regard. And then you'd be also facing a team like the Bills and the Broncos, your two teams out of those divisions that you'd be playing in the 2020 season. I mean, and the Patriots already got like some issues of their own too. I mean, add to that, just stick with them. If anyone was curious about what was happening with the punishment when they were filming Browns-Bengals game that happened this past December, right now, according to Adam Schefter of NFL on ESPN right now, they got 3 penalties right now, $1.1 million in club fines, loss of a 2020 third-round draft pick, and the Patriots TV crews are not allowed to shoot games during this season. I mean, if you basically look at the Patriots and that, I just feel like they just definitely got like a slap on the wrist, be honest with you. I don't think that's really enough. I mean, if anything, I would have demanded, surrendering like their first 2 picks in the top 100, if you ask me. Surrender your first and second round pick. I mean, it's just a team who just, no surprise, never seems to stay out of the news, and it's some sort of controversy around them. And it's just really sickening what kind of standards they like to set. I mean, yeah, you'll always look at it and just say they find a way to win and have a big-time culture right there. And we even still have your guy like Adam Kraft right now, too, who's involved in the sex trafficking about shortly after the Super Bowl was won. I mean, well, it was going into the Super Bowl and started like making headlines after they won their 6th and final Super Bowl recently when they defeated the Rams. And remember, too, I mean, he did not like the fact he felt like his privacy was being violated right now. Right now, it's going to be taken up to the appellate court right now. The challenge about, why his rights were violated because it was just being taken by undercover cops to see what was going on. But you still got stuff lurking around there. I mean, they're always going to still be in some kind of news. But at the end of the day, when it still comes to just being a player in this game and just someone in the conference that you still want to be concerned with, just no one, I just think you want to just be overlooking. I mean, they're going to still be the Patriots right there. I mean, Bill Belichick, I'm sure, is going to do everything he can to find a way to keep everything in control. I mean, think about it. I mean, he's a head coach and GM, I mean, at the same time. So, I mean, he's definitely like find ways to manage his team, I mean, to like what he feels like they need to do. That's just where I just feel, I mean, at the end of the day, when you still got Belichick, I think he's still always going to be the ultimate difference maker, no matter what it is. I mean, you can always like debate that, well, he wouldn't have been as successful as he was without Tom Brady. But then again, you can also make the argument too when he was coaching as a persistent alongside Bill Parcells as defense coordinator, and then wanted to go head coaching on his own with the Cleveland Browns once upon a time that he was. And I just feel right now, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, Bill Belichick has proven what he did. Granted, he's only had one winning season when he was with the Cleveland Browns, one playoff appearance basically. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it just shows he could coach up anybody. He could still find a way to make moves. And there's still something to be said about that Patriot culture. Even though it was hard for a guy like Tom Brady and other people that went before him, it was clearly becoming very obvious that it wasn't going to continue to work right there. I just feel like it was like slight after slight. These were definitely like some of the weakening signs right there. But, I mean, they were still able to just put a beat down on the Steelers in that opening of the season where the Steelers only got 3 points. It got blew up by 30-plus points in that game. So I want to just hear, what's your concerns, your thoughts right now? What do you think? Patriots right now, still someone you'd be curious to see what they're doing and how it will translate into the playoffs, as far as possibly winning a 7th Super Bowl. This almost kind of reminds me in similar ways when the San Francisco 49ers forced Joe Montana out of town pretty much when they decided to go with their guy Steve Young. Only difference was Joe Montana had a legitimate back injury that he suffered at least about 7 years prior in the playoffs. It's not like Tom Brady wasn't finding a way to win games. I mean, he was definitely, obviously, severely slowed down by the lack of support around him. Didn't feel like he had a security blanket, and it just heads just definitely just finally came together and just got heated. I mean, they got eliminated early in the first round of the playoffs to the Titans, and there you go. But like I said, I feel like for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, when we take a look at, I still think they're going to be in decent shape. And the reason why I say that, I just feel like you still got a lot more stuff you got to take a look at. I mean, this is a team right now who's trying to get back to the playoffs and see what they could do over here. And I just want to just see what you guys feel right now. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers right now trying to get back into the playoffs. They're at minus 170, which is basically 10 to 17 odds. So basically about 59% chance of making the playoffs this year. They have this to get in. Will it be a case for the Pittsburgh Steelers if they do get back into the playoffs? They'll be one of those lower seeds via the wild card. You are going to be having the expansion of the playoffs this season, where it's going to be 14 teams all together. You're going to have one additional spot and only one team getting the bye. So those will be the top things right there. I mean, of course, you still got like the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs right there with Patrick Mahomes and what he's still able to do. And aside from that, I mean, a hungry Baltimore Ravens team who's definitely got to be more a team looking to make some noise right now. And then when you look across opposite the NFC right now, I've been listening in a little bit too. You still got some San Francisco 49ers fans who definitely felt like they let that Super Bowl 54, they felt like they lost that game more than the Chiefs won that game. I mean, this is a team right now too who needs to strike while the iron is hot, and nothing may not be promised for their future either. I mean, because we got to take a look at too, like how games are going to be played, how sports leagues, and including the NFL, is to be part of the new norm. Because we just don't know how much severely is there going to be any halt in the season and where it's going to be affecting the following year's salary cap. I mean, a lot of teams like that, including like the Steelers, I think definitely who always seem to be getting away and making it work by spending close to the cap, may not be so lucky in the following season if that were to happen. I mean, I just feel the Steelers right now, if they don't go to the playoffs this year, I feel like this is a team right now, don't be surprised you see a lot of this roster gets big time broken up. And they start like going in a whole nother direction. And I just wanted to say before we go a little bit further, I just want to say thank you, shout out to some guys, Dean Davis right there, who's on me this past Friday. I'll talk about Ken, Demons, and Ryan right there. You can follow them on social media at That's Davis, at Demons1, at Ryan B. Ski, and for Instagram for Ryan, it is at Ryan B. Ski 1. we talked a lot about it in depth right there, and they definitely felt too, especially Kenneth Davis was saying, how Steelers fans right now, they definitely feel like he feels like, that Mike Tomlin is not fully appreciated right there. And that a team like the Steelers does not deserve him as far as like future-wise, because a guy who hasn't had a losing season versus like a guy like my guy who I still love and support, who's in the Hall of Fame, Bill Cowher. You look at Mike Tomlin right now and what he been able to maintain, and you compare him for your first 13 seasons. Within Cowher's first 13 seasons, he's already had 3 losing seasons at that point, while Tomlin hasn't had any. What's the worst thing you could have from having a losing season? Well, he definitely had quite a few. In his coaching career, he has had 3 8-8 seasons back in 2012, 2013, and recently back in 2019. And I just feel Tomlin right now, listen, I think he's done a tremendous job. Obviously, he dealt with a lot of stronger personalities than what he previously had. But I always still maintain the biggest difference. And back to Kevin's point, I just feel where Cowher had the edge. As far as versus Tomlin, despite not having, no seasons where he had no losing seasons. Even Cowher did have 3. The biggest difference, they both had to rebuild a portion of their roster. Tomlin had to recycle out the defense while Cowher had to clear out some guys with Chuck Noll. But I think the biggest difference was Cowher had more accountability on his team. They both coaches knew how to get players' attention, get in their face, but there's a difference between getting someone's face and translate it into success and making adjustments. And I just feel like Cowher did make pretty good adjustments. A lot of people criticize how he was definitely playing conservative ball late in games. Where if you had to punt it, just punt it and just pin your teams back. But at the same time too, he had the style where he was going to go the distance when it came to opposing teams. He was going to try and wear you out late in games, grind away at those first downs, and just stop you and continue to be physical on defense. I think that's the biggest difference. If you're asking me about where these two separate and where you would slice it and just put a big time halt to it. So back anyway, real quickly again on the Metal Steel Podcast, we're live right now on Facebook, on Zoom right now. I'm also streaming live at Metal Steel Nation on Instagram. If you guys want to check me out over there, please feel free. Like I said, I do plan on having a guest this past week. I'm in touch with Brian DiArlo, trying to get him back on the show soon, hopefully the next couple of days. We'll see how everything works out right there. But in the meanwhile, like I said, if you guys want to, feel free to leave me a comment. You can tweet at me as well, at MetaSteelCGR on Twitter, or catch me on the live stream right now, which will be shared to Instagram TV at MetaSteel Nation. So let's get into some other stuff right now, too, that was around the league right now. According to Pro Football Focus, Cam Hayward has the second highest grade as far as interior defensive linemen in the second half of games in 2019. The other guys, the guy that just beat him out was, at that time, defending Defensive Player of the Year that season, which was Aaron Donald, defensive tackle for the Rams. Then he also had, after Hayward, was Calais Campbell, who's now with the Ravens, defensive end, and then Gray Jarrett, defensive tackle of the Falcons. And I think that's a very impressive thing right there for Cam Hayward. He's definitely a guy who's paid his dues in this league as far as trying to be a good defensive lineman for so many years. This is a guy who's going into his 10th season right now, final year of his contract since being drafted back in 2011. Definitely a guy who's given all that he can, to this organization. And when you think about it, and Cam Hayward, by the way, who right now, for a guy who has made the Pro Bowl 3 times, 2 times an All-Pro, just really get ready to see what else he could do. It's a guy who recently he had his career high in sacks back in 2017, which was 12. But he's made his overall career high tackles back in 2019 with 83, 51 of them being solo. So this guy, he is just starting to heat up right now. Let's see what happens. And he's got his highest approximated value grade at 17. So, I mean, this is a guy right here, I mean, who's played in 5 playoff games altogether in his career. And we'll see what happens right there. But I just feel like Cam Hayward right now, who's definitely one of the captains of this team, and see what they can do. Because Cam Hayward, I mean, like I said, I mean, you look at the Steelers, I mean, as everything as far as with this organization, I mean, anytime we're going to be talking defense, you're always going to be thinking that steel curtain right there, 4-3, when you had Mean Joe Green, Elsie Greenwood, Dwight White, and Earl Holmes. I mean, just bottom line. I mean, this is a team who's been playing the 3-4 defense since 1982. I just start to wonder at some point, I mean, when it would be a safe time if you ever had to change philosophies on defense? When would you probably like go back to like doing something like a 4-3 where you won 4 Super Bowls with, and you made the playoffs at least, I mean, at that time, 8 straight seasons from 1972 from 1979, but still made it 12. I mean, you still made it, I mean, 8 times under that scheme. And there you have it right now. I mean, this is a team right now. I wonder if at some point you have to start looking to change and go to a new system and just something where, I mean, if you really want to just like be like a championship caliber, sometimes you have to adapt your game plan. And we'll see what happens with that this year. I just keep hearing how Ben Roethlisberger, I mean, at the end of the day, he's going to be the guy. As long as he is healthy, this be a big reason why the Steelers could possibly win back that division and make a deep run in the playoffs. My only retort to that is always this, and I still maintain this, is that you still got to be smart enough not to be turning balls over in the end zone and not just be making foolish turnovers or just be costly. At the end of the day, that's what he still seems to get remembered for. So let's also get into the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. Also with the Pro Football Focus right now, as far as like their defense up the middle. Here's what they got ranked. By the way, before we continue a little bit further, we're not going to do any fair or foul today. We'll be doing that in the next few days. But as far as like their defense up the middle, they are ranked number 2 once again. Broncos number 1, then you got the Saints at number 3, Jets at number 4, and the Niners at number 5. I mean, so that's pretty darn special right there. To know that at least. I mean, at some point too, I mean, this is another team right now, the Broncos, who's been right now trying to end a 5-year playoff drought. I mean, they haven't been in the playoffs since they won the Super Bowl. I mean, with that hot defense, and guess who was at the helm? Peyton Manning. This is a team right now who, I mean, you start to wonder, like, can they be one of the teams that could benefit from having this extra playoff seeding available this year when it comes to that? I mean, the Denver Broncos, who trying to get back and close, trying to do everything they can. I mean, the Denver Broncos, I mean, last year they went 7-9, and then the last few seasons before that, they were 6-10 and 5-11, and their best record aside from those was 9-7. I mean, this is another team who's trying to make some headway, trying to make some noise for everything that has been going on. They're trying to be hopeful that they could get back in top, back in the saddle, and be a team once again. But aside from like the playoffs, real quick, let's also get into this too right now. Also, let's take a look at right now the comeback player of the year odds for right now. And what we got on that for comeback player of the year, we got Ben Roethlisberger at number 1, according to OddsShark. Right now, he is a plus 250. After Ben Roethlisberger is Rob Gronkowski at 325, J.J. Watt at 650, Matt Stafford at plus 700, A.J. Green at plus 900. So there you go. So the top 5 people, it is Ben Roethlisberger, Rob Gronkowski, J.J. Watt, Matthew Stafford, A.J. Green. If you had to look aside from that group right there, which one aside from Ben Roethlisberger would you say would probably have like comeback player of the year? I think one of the other guys I'll probably look at too, as far as like comeback player of the year, I'm probably looking at a guy maybe like J.J. Watt aside from Gronkowski. There's still a lot of unknown. I mean, granted, he's going to be happy to be playing with Brady than he would Belichick. Obviously, there's a lot more stress physically and mentally. But a guy like J.J. Watt right now, I mean, when you look at like his recent seasons, he's only had one full season, I mean, since 2015. I mean, this is a guy right here, I mean, who, when you look at it, who is actually right now started 32 games, I mean, out of, no, excuse me. He's basically only started 32 games out of the last 32 out of 64 games. I mean, this is a guy right here, I mean, who has been at least a 3-time defensive player of the year. I mean, and has been big time still. I mean, this is a guy right here. You got to start to wonder at some point, when will he start heating up? When will we start seeing flashes of him in here? I mean, this is a guy who's definitely given a lot of his heart and soul to the city of Houston. Going into his 10th season. I mean, they obviously came up short. I mean, after blowing a favorable lead against the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional playoffs. That's one thing that's going to sting for a long time. But I do feel right now with him, I mean, when you look at him, he's going to be 31 years old. So you got to still figure he's probably got at least 2 more good seasons left in him, I would say. I mean, it's hard to be playing 10 seasons in this league, let alone from everything. But I mean, at the same time, this is a guy who still finds a way to continue to grind, still continues to keep himself in shape. And I'd be really, like, that'd be a guy who I'd be rooting for. I mean, if not Ben Roethlisberger. I just feel right now with him, he's definitely a guy who gives it his all and asks a lot more from himself and then for his teammates around him to do everything they can. And J.J. Watt, I mean, he's a guy who deserves to one day, like, get a ring or finish off with a title if he can at some point. So there you have it right there. You got the Steelers, number 2 in each categories for like defense up the middle, and Cam Hayward being number 2 as far as like an interior defensive lineman. That's what he's did. And there you have it. So we'll see what happens right there. And other than that, I mean, that's pretty much about it. That's all I got for today. But I just wanted to say thank you for those of you who took the time to tune in real quick over here. You definitely, once again, you catch me Mondays and Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Not really much anything happening except the stuff around the league with the transactions right now. can't wait for more of the headlines to heat up. But we will get back in it and continue to do a little bit more further and see what happens. I mean, are we going to see any cancellation of the preseason entirely? Will there be some games? Mike Tomlin still seems to be optimistic for right now and assuming that there will be some games. So until then, once again, you can follow me on social media on my Twitter at Project Richie, at OnDeckCSR, on the Men of Steel podcast. On Twitter is at Men of Steel CGR, Instagram at Men of Steel Nation. As always, leave you. Don't be trolling, be rolling. I got.